Greetings, friends. It's Josh.
And I'm Ryan.
And this is the Dead Tired Dads podcast. Hi, Ryan. How are you?
I'm good, Josh. How are you?
It's good to hear.
Yeah, I'm back.
You're back. Yes. The other dad is gone.
The other dad is gone. The other dad is back.
Yes. I am the staple.
You are.
I am the glue that
You're
holds
holding
the,
this down.
I hold the show together. The glue that holds the show together. Josh.
True.
That should just be like, I should just get like a name tag that says that. The glue.
The glue.
The glue.
Ooh, I like it.
Josh the glue.
I like it.
I don't know. This is starting off odd, but that's okay. So, how you been, Ryan? You've had you've had a month off of recording.
No, I haven't been doing anything.
You haven't been doing anything.
Actually, can I tell you? I'm a little bit sad.
You're sad? I'm sorry.
For two reasons.
Two reasons.
I found out today that someone actually left a 1-star review. I'm so sad about that.
I actually found out about that like a month ago. I looked on there and I was like, and the really sad thing about that is they didn't say anything.
They didn't say anything.
They just left a 1-star review.
We don't know what we're doing wrong.
Like, come on, some constructive criticism so that we can
help us out.
That we can correct whatever you think we are doing poorly. But you know what? That's okay. Like I am curious. Like who stumbled upon our podcast and was like, "These guys are terrible. I hate
awful.
them."
1 star. Never listening again.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we reviewed a game that they developed and they're like,
"Oh yes."
They just stumbled across our podcast because it mentioned
Actually, I know what it was. It was a GameStop employee because all of them.
No, all the GameStop employees would be like, "Yeah, no, the company is terrible." At least from the ones that I've talked to.
So
it's a GameStop executive.
Oh,
maybe
man.
Maybe it was someone from Best Buy from that time that I told them that I.
It could have been.
That wasn't even bad though, so I don't know.
That was a funny story.
That was a funny story.
We tell funny stories.
How this podcast is great.
It should be. First of all, we should never be getting 1 stars. 2, this podcast should be so much more popular.
It should be. I agree wholeheartedly. Maybe. You know what it is? It's because we only release 1 episode a month now.
Could be.
That's what it is.
They loved it so much.
And
then when we went to 1 a month, they're like, no,
they don't update.
Like.
They don't update enough. That's terrible. I hate them for it. I hate us for it too. Sorry.
Could be.
Okay.
You might be onto something there.
Yeah. Well, I also have a sad story.
Oh no.
A sad, tragic story.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I was on Nintendo.com, which I am on frequently. More often than normal people ought to be. And it just so happened that I stumbled across the fact that the Nintendo 64 Switch controller was available.
They finally had
it was in stock.
Yep.
And I was so happy. And I had it. I put it in my cart. And I was 1 penny.
You were right there. 1
penny short of free shipping. And I said, certainly, I can find something that is, more than a penny that I can order. And I found 3 things, or 4 things actually, that I could order.
You could have.
That I could have ordered that would have. But the thing is, I just spent a bunch of money.
Yes.
On some stuff, which we'll get into momentarily. We've got some great stories.
Yes,
but anyway.
we do.
I had just spent a bunch of money, and so I was like, I don't want to spend a ton more money, but there's some stuff in here that could be really good that I could buy that I'll probably get eventually. And so I kind of waffled back and forth.
I'm sensing that theme, yes.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know what to do, and I was like, I'll talk with Em about it tonight. My wife, Emmy. I'll talk with her about it tonight, and I'll figure out what she thinks. And I started playing a game. And was tired and went to bed. And I was like, I'll get it in the morning. I get on the next day. And my purchase paralysis caused me to miss out. They were sold out of the 64 controllers already. And I was just like,
not get it the next day.
No. How is this flipping possible? Why does Nintendo hate me? Why do they not make enough of these controllers for people to buy them? But what I think is actually happening is like the people who want them are like literally buying 4 of them at a time.
Ordering a bunch.
And it's just like, oh my gosh. So now I've got to wait another like 6 months for them to get back in stock.
You know what's happening? People heard our review of how hard it was to play GoldenEye, and they had to go buy a Nintendo 64 controller.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what it was.
Absolutely. I agree with that wholeheartedly. But no, it's still in my cart. It is in my cart on the Nintendo website, which you can't do if you didn't have it in your cart previously, because it says it's sold out now.
Oh, right.
So it is in my cart along with the other thing that I decided I was going to get to put it over the 1 penny that I needed for free shipping, and it's just sitting there.
So now you check every day.
I was doing that for a while, and it didn't show up, and then I quit doing that. But then this game came out, and I was like, I need to get on,
True.
Nintendo to check on something, and I that's the page that I automatically go to is the 64 controller, and it was there, and I was like, ah! So anyway,
close.
It was so close.
Josh has purchase paralysis.
Josh does have purchase paralysis. I have that about a lot of things, though. I have such a hard time pulling triggers on things because it's that costs money.
True. Oh, I want that, but it costs money.
Yeah, that Lego arcade Pac-Man thing that Matt sent us the other day.
Looks so cool.
Oh my gosh, $250 for that thing.
I just have to, when he sends Lego sets, I just have to stop looking.
Is he the one who sent us the Batman one?
I didn't send it, so it was either you or him.
Okay, but you saw the Batman one too. Okay, that Batman thing is flipping awesome. Okay, we're talking about things that we're not explaining, so
that's true.
we should stop that. So there's a new Lego set coming out that's a Batman, a Bat Cave based on the 1980s, Batman, and it's a shadow box, so it closes and opens. Look it up, it's flipping awesome. And then there's a Pac-Man arcade thing, Lego thing that the Pac-Man will move around the map. It's absolutely incredible, just absolutely incredible. But they're both ridiculously expensive, and it's not even fair.
I just have to stop looking because I'll never be able to buy that. I give up.
Yeah, no, I got away with getting the Lego Nintendo set that came out.
You did,
because
pretty cool too.
I got it when it first came out, basically because it was my birthday, and because when they released it, my wife looked at me and said, I already know. Just buy it.
I know. You're getting that.
there is no way that you're not buying that, so just buy it. And that's kind of how I feel the Pac-Man thing's going to end up going.
I know you're going to get
there's
it.
Just no way. There's no way you're not going to buy that, so just buy it.
Just do it.
But maybe not. But anyway, so that's some fun, tragic, sad things going on. But also some very good things. Ryan,
the other sad thing.
No.
Well, I was gonna make a joke in the opposite direction of I think what you were getting ready to say.
Okay.
And I was gonna say the other sad thing is it's a shame that there's no good games out right now that we can play.
Yeah, no, it's been such a hard time trying to figure out what to play for the last 2 weeks.
Haven't even considered turning on anything else.
I know, right? No, the bright side of our lives right now. So I got my Zelda Switch, so that was fun.
You got a Zelda Switch.
I got a Zelda Switch. I upgraded to the OLED model, which is awesome, and that was a lot of money that I spent, which is another reason why I couldn't, felt like I couldn't buy the N64 controller. But also, speaking of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom is out, or as it's commonly referred to, Breath of the Wild 2.
Breath of the Wild 2, yes.
That's, I realized today, you sent me last night, how long, each of us has been playing, because you looked at, you can look at that.
I can't believe that's right.
You looked at that on the Switch?
Yeah.
So I realized today, I was like, this is basically a second full-time job for me now. Playing Zelda is Josh's second full-time job. So if I think I can't work another 40 hours a week, I am wrong.
Wrong. You can.
I certainly could. It would just not be as fun. But I
especially could if it involved playing Zelda.
I could certainly do it. That's painfully obvious.
You don't need sleep. That's overrated.
No, the funny thing is, so when you get into your mid-30s, your body just decides like, oh yeah, no, I'm like, you want to keep doing stuff? No, we're going to sleep right now.
Not gonna happen.
We are going to sleep.
It's
so like
bedtime, buddy.
I will find myself like running through Hyrule Field and like falling, dozing off, and I'm like, what is happening? Why is this going on? It's terrible.
The amount of times that, because when I fall asleep, I listen to a TV show, usually like The Office or something I've watched before. The amount of times that I have dropped my phone on my own face because I'm laying in bed dozing off is embarrassing, actually.
But anyway, so yeah, basically this episode is brought to you by Nintendo and Tears of the Kingdom. So much so, because that's all we're going to talk about. So if you're not a Zelda fan, or if you didn't like Breath of the Wild, first of all, go seek help. You need you need a therapist. If you have not, like, I don't know. I get it.
You're doing it wrong.
I get it. It's not traditional Zelda. I understand, but it's so much fun.
So good.
It's so good. So I don't even know where to start with this. Like, the game starts off incredibly.
So I actually wrote a note because I had a thought for how we should do this.
Okay.
I thought we should maybe start, if it's even possible, to discuss like non-spoiler stuff.
Yeah,
that we obviously like, and then as we get into the episode, then we can talk about stuff where if people don't want it spoiled, they can pause or whatever.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I hope to keep it mostly spoiler-free anyway, but, I mean, just the introduction of the game, like, the first 15, we went to the that's where we start.
Oh, you gotta start
You gotta start the midnight release. Right, yeah, because cool things happen at the midnight release.
Oh, they do.
Cool things happen.
That was fun all by itself.
Yeah. That's a whole episode, the midnight release. So, GameStop, okay. Backing up.
Here we go. Josh has a GameStop
Josh has a GameStop story. Of course. Why not?
Stop me if you've heard this before, but Josh has a GameStop story.
So, it was May 12th when the game came out.
Yep.
And I was super excited. I hadn't pre-ordered yet because I was trying to get the collector's edition.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I got to figure out how to get it. And so, you had texted me that you had gone to the GameStop because you had found out you weren't sure if you were going to be able to make it to the midnight release.
Right.
So you went, you pre-ordered it for the midnight release that night, and then from there you were like, hey, I asked them if they had any collector's editions at the one, close to my house, and they were like, yeah, and I was like, sweet, I'll stop by the GameStop at my, near my house, and right after work, and I'll get one, and I'll go to the midnight release, and it'll be great. So I go to the GameStop right after work, and they go, yeah, we don't have any of the collector's editions left. We called all the people who had pre-ordered, and they all wanted to upgrade. And I was like, so they only sent you enough to basically cover the pre-orders you already had? That's
dumb.
Dumb? But anyway.
No one else is going to want this.
So then I was like, well, I guess I need to go all the way down to, the store near Ryan's house and get one. And you had told me at that point, earlier that they said that you had to be pre-ordered by 6 o'clock.
Yeah, the story he told me, I think I told you in a text that I asked him to re-explain it 3 times, and each time it made less and less sense.
Yeah.
But the basic gist was, if you want to pick up your midnight release at midnight, you have to pre-order no later than 6 p.m.
Gotcha. Yeah. So in any case, I was like, okay, I got to get down to that store in under an hour, which isn't typically difficult, but it was, I think it was a Thursday, so it was Thursday night.
Yep.
And it's going into a larger city from the smaller city that I live in, or smaller town, I guess. I don't know. Is this a city? Not technically, I don't guess. Anyway.
I don't know.
Beside the point. So I was worried about traffic and all those kinds of things. Plus, I was supposed to, I abandoned my family so I could go down to pre-order this game. It's bad.
I have a problem.
I do have a problem. Anyway, so I get down there, I get the game pre-ordered, and they tell while I'm pre-ordering the game, the collector's edition, the guy who's checking me out, he goes, "Look, if you pre-order another game, you're entered into a raffle to win the Zelda controller." turns out I was thinking about buying another game anyway. Like, there's this other game that was coming out the next week that I was planning on buying or thinking about buying. And I was also planning on buying the Zelda controller.
Look at that.
And so I was like, okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and pre-order this game that's coming out next week. And I'll, get entered into the raffle. Midnight comes around, and the raffle starts off, or the midnight release comes around, not midnight, but they're doing the raffle beforehand. And so I'm in the lobby at GameStop, and they start reading off the numbers, and all the tickets start off with the same 4 numbers.
Yeah.
And the last 2 are different. And so mine ended with 04 were my last 2 numbers. And the 4th number was always 5. Everyone had the same first 4 numbers, and 5 was the 4th number. So the guy who was reading off the raffle, when he was doing it, he was reading it off real dramatic, being like, reading the first 3 numbers really slow and dramatically. And then I just, like, the first time he did it, I just yelled out 5 to be funny, because he was being, like, overly ridiculous about it. And so I start, like, every time after that, like, I would shout out 5. And so by the time it gets around to the raffling off the controller, like, he knows it's me, and he's staring at me as he's like waiting, expecting me to yell out the 5. And so I do, and then he says 0, and he's still looking at me, and I kind of hold up, like, kind of sheepishly, I'm like holding up the number 4, and he says 4, and I was like, yes!
Josh wins the
so
controller.
I won my Zelda controller. So I spent $60 on this new game, but I got a $75 controller. So,
and you are playing Zelda on your Zelda Switch with your Zelda controller.
Yes.
So it's just all Zelda.
It's all Zelda.
It's all Zelda all the time.
Yes, indeed. So that's a great story. That's, so, and then after the midnight release, after we, stood in line and got our game, you went home and went to bed.
I was a responsible adult. I went home. I did put the game in so that it could update.
Yeah.
But then I went to bed.
I turned it on.
Josh was not a responsible
I was not a responsible adult. I did not play for long. I stayed up till like 1:30.
Define long.
It was like 1:30.
All right, fair.
I have since, not been as responsible and been up until later than 2 o'clock in the morning
that
playing.
Was the only night that I was a responsible adult about it.
But anyway, so I just I watched the first 15 minutes of the game. Like, I was just like, this is perfect. This is wonderful.
Good.
It's so amazing. So it's so amazing. But no, so that I've talked a lot. Ryan, you kind of give your first take.
Okay, so one of the things that has struck me is it lived up to the hype. It has lived up to the hype,
yes.
which is so hard to do because
absolutely.
There was so much hype for this game. And if you follow gaming news at all, there was sort of a disappointment in the Xbox community with a game called Redfall. It was very hyped. It's a kind of a vampire shoot-'em-up game. And it was very hyped up. People were looking forward to it. And it was very glitchy and buggy on release day. And this was like
Cyberpunk.
A week before Zelda. And so there was some people that were starting to worry, like, oh, here we go again, a hyped up game. But this one absolutely lives up to the hype, and it's so difficult to do.
And like I said, the first 15 minutes, you sit there and go, there's no way that they could make this Breath of the Wild. And then you start playing the game and you're like,
but they did.
I think they may have done it.
They might have made it better.
I think they might have somehow made Breath of the Wild better.
They did. I think they did.
I don't know how they did this, but somehow they pulled this off. It's just absolutely amazing, what they did.
But yeah, that was kind of one of my first impressions, because Breath of the Wild released in 2017, mm-hmm. so 6 years. If you've heard us reference on this show before, we've referenced a few times how, the next Zelda game will be here any day now.
Yeah,
it's been 2 years at least of delays and waiting on it. So 6 years total of waiting on the follow-up to Breath of the Wild. And it was just so hyped up that that was my main fear. Yeah. Was this is going to be so overhyped that it can't possibly live up to it. But
Well, the real question is and this is kind of going off topic a little bit, but what do they do next? Like, we haven't, I mean, obviously, we haven't beaten the game
I have no
yet.
idea.
So, like, how, like, they've come out with 2 incredible games. This is, it's very rare. I don't know if it's ever happened, technically. I mean, maybe Zelda 1 to Zelda 2, like The Legend of Zelda to Link's Adventure. Maybe that's an immediate follow-up. But, like, you know, it's not something they do often. They don't do immediate follow-ups.
Immediate sequels,
yeah.
you mean? Yeah.
I mean, I guess Majora's Mask is technically an immediate sequel to Ocarina of Time, but that one's so different. I have a hard time putting them together, even though it's the same Link.
I saw an article about that because I was wondering, because you've heard me talk in the past about there was a couple of generations where I didn't have any Nintendo
I still can't believe you haven't played Twilight Princess.
I have not.
Tragedy.
So I was reading an article about it, and they said that this is only like the 3rd or 4th time where they've ever done, in like 32 games or 35 games, something like that. There's only the 3rd or 4th time where they've done a direct sequel to the last.
But it like literally picks up right where Breath of the Wild leaves off, like, and so I was like, I've just been thinking, I was like, how, because this kind of feels like what Zelda is now, right?
It has to be, I would think,
and it's such a departure from like traditional Zelda, and like, I don't know. So that's an interesting thing to ponder. And how do they, like, what do they continue on with this thing that they've got, or do they change it up again like they've done so many times before, you know? But like, to me, like, this is it's just incredible.
Well, and the other thing, so this is totally a rumor, but there's this rumor floating around that they'll sometime within the next 6 to 18 months announce the Switch 2.
Oh.
And so what I've started to think about is, how do they, because Breath of the Wild was sort of a launch title for the Switch.
Right.
So how do they do that again? How do they make a Zelda game really, really great that they launch with a new console?
Right.
It's just, I don't know. It's going to be...
They'll launch it with Metroid Prime 4 is what they'll do.
Oh, so the Switch 2's not coming out for 10 years. I see. Okay.
Pretty much. Man. So, no. So, yeah, the intro's great. You know, kind of getting into the game, you know, is just... You know, it's an incredible experience. It's a lot of fun to... One thing I was kind of thinking about the other day, and Breath of the Wild did this too, and I didn't realize that Breath of the Wild had done this. But I think it's more so in Tears of the Kingdom. The point of the game is not to beat the game.
Yeah.
Like, the point of the game is to explore and to find things in the game.
Yeah,
like,
it's an adventure.
Your goal is just to discover.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you're trying to do. And the funny thing is they did such a good job of it. See, I went back before Tears of the Kingdom came out. I had gone back. I was playing Breath of the Wild again.
Yep.
Like, just kind of like getting myself back in that headspace of like what it was going to be like and things like that. I completed, and so I had done the DLC for Breath of the Wild. And I had not beaten some of that, and so, or a lot of that actually. And so I was like, I'm gonna beat this. I got the motorcycle thing, which was a lot of like, that was just. I'm gonna back up a little bit and go to Breath of the Wild for a second. That was just a great DLC piece of content, like just to have a motorcycle.
I still haven't played it.
Oh, it's so much fun. I was just having fun just riding around and just seeing like how high I could get with it, like what I could make it climb up. And then just kind of trying to launch myself off as high as I could. Yes. And just like, you know, just a ton of fun. But all that to say, like, even in doing that, I was still finding things that I hadn't done. Like, I found a side quest that I had completely missed.
Yep.
I found like 30 more Koroks. Like enough that I was able to like upgrade my pouches like a couple of times, you know, like, and do stuff with. And I was like, you know, all of this stuff that I had just missed. And it wasn't like I didn't play that game either. Like, I put hours into that. I don't know if I put as many hours into that as I have into Tears of the Kingdom, but which is saying something for Tears of the Kingdom.
I just can't believe it. I can't believe those numbers, but
yeah. So, I mean, No, it's crazy how good it is. But anyway, all that to say, like, the point of the game is to explore, and what they did, they added so much more.
Yeah.
For you to explore and discover. So, yeah.
Yeah, because in Breath of the Wild, it got to a point where I stopped. So I have this thing I do with most open world games. I try really, really hard not to fast travel unless I just need to. Otherwise, I like to hop on my horse or in my vehicle or whatever it is and just explore on my way to the goal.
Right.
And in Breath of the Wild, there were just these dead spaces where there's nothing really going on there. I was like, okay, I'm just going to fast travel here. But in Tears of the Kingdom, every time I hop on my horse and go somewhere, I'm finding new stuff that sidetracks me, and I actually never get to the place where I'm trying to go because I keep getting sidetracked by this other cool stuff.
Yes. There's constantly something to find. It feels like, and there's I don't know. There's so much, and that's one thing. One thing that could be a problem, I think, is there's so much. To do.
Yeah.
There is so much to do. So many things to find, it's great. It's tons of fun. And it takes you back to kind of the original point, because that was the original point of the first Zelda. Like, I can't remember I'm a terrible, terrible fan, because I can't think of the guy's name who created Zelda. Oh my gosh.
No.
Anyway, but his, like, when he was kind of developing the game, he was remembering, like, as a kid, going back and, like, exploring caves in his yard and things like that, and how cool that was. And so that was kind of what he had based everything on. Was
I do remember on the original Zelda, my brother and I, we would spend so much time placing bombs next to walls just to see if that was like a secret wall or a hidden wall that we could break through and explore.
So, Miyamoto, that's it.
There you go.
Yeah, Shigeru Miyamoto. That's it. I couldn't remember. So anyway, that idea, that concept of exploration and finding things does take it, like, way back to its roots. Mm-hmm. And it just does it in a way that you can actually do now that you couldn't do on the NES.
I actually had a similar thought today while I was playing. I kind of laughed because in the past on this show, we've kind of made fun of the fact that you don't like to finish games. Like, you want it to keep going.
Yes.
I already see that I'm going to have that problem with this game. I don't want this game to end.
Yeah.
And so I foresee not finishing it because I just want to keep playing.
Well, and the other thing is that, like, even, like, the main quest that it sets you on, I'm not sure that once you complete the start of that quest, that, like, that's it. Like, I'm not convinced that, like, that's all that you have to do.
I don't think it will be.
Like, for, like, because with Breath of the Wild, it was like, okay, you go to the 4 places, you beat it, and then you go face Ganon. Right. Like, that was it. You know, you've got the four divine beasts, you get them, you go fight Ganon. Yep. This, I'm not as convinced that, like, once you do those 4 things,
I don't think it'll be like that. I think there's going to be more to it after that.
I hope so. I really do hope so, because so far, like, you've done 2, or you've done 3. You've done 3 of them. I've done 1, and I've started a second. And funnily enough, I've played more than you. But yeah, so it's, there's just so much. It feels like there's so much to do, and I don't want it to just be those 4.
Without saying too much, I don't think it will be. Yeah. Because just the way they've set up other stuff. There's in Breath of the Wild, it was sort of, it had that feel of, what you need to face Ganon is these 4 divine beasts, and once you have them, you can face him. It's not set up the same way in this one. Right. It's not like, oh, well, as soon as you get these 4, then you're good. It's like, you need that, but there's this other stuff you need too.
Yeah, so. That's fair. That's fair. You know, one of the things I think that they did really well with in this one is the shrines.
Yes.
I don't remember playing the shrines in Breath of the Wild and being like, okay, that was just amazingly creative and
Nope.
super fun. Like,
Nope.
there were some of them that were cool.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't remember any of them that I was like, I want to do that again.
Yeah, no. The first note that I have right here is shrines are way better than Breath of the Wild.
Like, I don't remember. I remember texting people and being like, "This shrine is stupid." Like, I remember
I had a lot of that.
I remember having a lot of those where it's like, I
I'm
hate this shrine. This shrine is ridiculously hard. I have run into exactly one of those. I think that I was just like, "This is stupid, and I hate it, and I want it to die." But for the most part, I think that that the shrines that they've done, the way that they've kind of set it up to be a creative thing, to do stuff is very cool.
Well, and I've noticed that there's a range of puzzles that are like easy, medium, hard. There's a spectrum.
Right.
To me, Breath of the Wild felt like either this is really easy or this is stupidly complex for no reason.
Right.
But the shrines in this game seem like more on a spectrum. And it's like if you figure out an easier one, then you can figure out this more
Well, and the
difficult
other thing about Tears of the Kingdom is the way that the game is set up. It's like you can be creative and solve the puzzles different ways.
Yes. You don't have to do it just one way.
Yeah. For a lot of them.
Yeah.
There's just there are so many different things that you can do, so many different ways. Because of the way that the game is set up, you can just be creative about how you solve things, how you fix things, and what you do. And so that's a lot of fun. So, anyway.
Like, one solution is just to build a massively long bridge.
Yeah.
And just skip the whole puzzle.
Yes.
But no. That was the first note I had. Shrines are way better than Breath of the Wild.
The shrines are incredible because they're just fun. Like most of them are just fun. Like we've texted like multiple
about
times
how cool they are.
About like, man, I found this great new shrine. I can't wait for you to do it.
But we don't want to spoil it, so we're like, it's in this area of the map.
Have you done that one?
Have you found it?
Yeah.
What I found is in Breath of the Wild, I was doing shrines just so that I could upgrade my hearts or stamina.
Yeah.
Versus in this Zelda game, I'm doing the shrines just because they're fun. And
yeah, for sure.
I had like 12 or 13 orbs. And I was like, I can upgrade. But I just didn't care because I was just doing them for fun.
So I think you said that you had done 51, 52?
I have done 51 shrines now. 51. Yeah.
So I think I'm up to like 72.
That's why I've done 3 and you've done... It's all making sense.
It's all like I've just been exploring things and finding things, but I've also so I don't know if we want to get into like the certain different aspects of the game, or if we want to wait until the end until we.
I
get
do want to talk about
them
at some point.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So we'll wait until we talk a little bit more without talking about details.
Yeah.
And we'll give that spoiler alert. So overall. One thing that I've seen as a criticism that isn't really a criticism, it's just people being snobby about games, is the fact that the graphics are not any different between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
So what? Play games that have bad graphics,
right? Like it's not
get over yourself.
Like they were like when one developer releases a game 6 years ago, this is what it looks like, and then they release a sequel 6 years later, it looks like this, and it looks way quote unquote way better. And that's like one criticism I've seen. I'm just like. But the details, I think, are there in Tears of the Kingdom more than they were in Breath of the Wild.
I have a little bit of a bias towards graphics and complaining about graphics because I used to be that person that would talk about, but the graphics aren't any better. I used to be that person, and then I had a friend kind of like almost put me in my place, but did you actually play the game and see how awesome it was?
Right.
Because if you just play the game, who cares?
Yeah.
And there are so many great video games that the graphics are mediocre at best.
Yeah.
But just, who cares? Just play the game.
Yeah. If it's a good game, it's a good game. Period. End of story. And
I mean...
Tears of the Kingdom.
One that comes to mind, Borderlands. The art style on that is very unique, and no one would call it a graphically beautiful game. But they're amazing games, so just go play them and get over yourself.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, exactly. I just don't understand that criticism personally, because like it's not trying to be like hyper realistic.
Yeah.
Its graphic style is its own graphic style. Like that's what it is. Like it's a unique graphic style. And but I do think that they did do some things that were better. Like they added some detail to things. They made things more pretty.
There's been a few times where I stopped and just used the picture feature.
Yeah.
Just 'cause I thought, oh, that's really cool looking. Yeah. So like, I don't that criticism.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Overall, like, I mean, I'm probably like 70 hours in just about at this point. The game's been out for 2 weeks, so like I said, it's basically a full-time job for me playing Tears of the Kingdom. And awesome.
I'd be rich.
I am, I love it. Obviously, I wouldn't be playing.
It's just so good. I don't know what to say other than how good it is. It's a masterpiece.
So does that wrap up our non-spoiler
I think so.
talk
I think
of
so.
it?
Yeah.
So if you're wanting to avoid any like super details about Tears of the Kingdom, like you can turn it off now and be done. Know that we think it's a great game. Obviously, good. We don't. When we start, it's funny when we started this podcast, we said that like the goal was to like explore games that like that like weren't
like niche
that weren't games like this, and like we're like, oh, we got to talk about Tears of the Kingdom for an hour.
It's so good. So normally, which I still did make a couple notes, but normally I have like printed out notes for when we do a show. And my wife was like, you don't have notes, are you going to be okay? And I was like, yeah, I don't need notes for this episode. We're good.
You do have like one other thing, it looks like, on the no spoilers. What's the...
Yeah, well, I just wrote, and it's kind of related to what I was talking about, how it lived up to the hype. Because I wrote 10 out of 10 because I think it was Matt that sent in the group chat. Yes. There was all these people, like the week before it came out, like IGN and Game Informer and every major gaming news site posted their review scores.
Right.
And I think the worst one was 9.75 or 9.5 out of 10, something like that. That was the worst score. It was all 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. The only two non-perfect scores were 9.5 out of 10 and 97 out of 100. And so that I kind of wrote that down, and it was related to, it lived up to the hype, because basically everyone who gets paid to have an opinion on the game said it's a 10 out of 10. Yeah. And so when I saw that, I was like, how are they going to live up to that? But
no, it somehow did. It really did. And
I give it a 10 out of 10. Easy.
Yeah. I have some issues, but not like the game itself is great.
Yeah.
I have some issues with some of the controls. I find myself pushing the wrong button way too much.
Oh yeah.
Way too much. I don't know if it's just because I'm old and I can't keep track of things anymore, but I push the wrong button way more often than I want to admit.
Well, I spent when I was actually doing it, it was probably like 15 seconds, but it felt like 5 minutes. It felt like I spent 5 minutes trying to change like which power I was using. Right. I was holding the L button, and instead of pressing the right joystick, I was pressing the left, and I was like, my controller's broken, dang it! And I was getting so mad, and I was like, oh, I'm pressing the wrong button.
No, and that's that kind of stuff. Like I'll push the L button to change my power, and like I'll change to the wrong one, or it's simultaneously too easy to change your power and too difficult to control things
all at the same time.
So there are some detailed complaints like that I have about the way that it's the kind of the programming. I don't know, like the way that the game kind of functions. But the game itself is phenomenal. I love it. Like I do love it. And
so good.
So that does it for no spoilers. We're going to talk about details now. So
if you don't want spoilers, pause the show. Go play Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, go buy it and play it. That's all I can say.
Yeah. So what else can you say?
All right. So getting into the spoiler stuff.
Spoilery potentially.
So we have to talk about the depths.
We
have to talk about the depths. Like, I have spent so much stinking time.
The depths are the real reason why you haven't progressed the main story.
That is probably 100 legitimately true. Like 100% true. Like
every time I text you, I'm like, I'm doing this, and you're like, I'm exploring the depths.
I'm exploring
and
the
then
depths.
I say, oh, I'm working on this now, and you say, I'm exploring the
I'm
depths.
still in the depths. So the way that they set the thing up, like the 3 different layers,
that's really, really cool.
Is really so cool.
So explain what the 3 layers are.
So you've got, your overworld, basically, which is the landscape. It's all Breath of the Wild.
It's the same.
It's the same landscape of Breath of the Wild, and then so not only do you have that to explore again,
which is massive,
it's a massive area, and you get to explore it again and kind of see it through new eyes because of the upheaval and the way that the world changed because of that.
Yep.
But then on top of that, this massive world that you already have to explore, they added a second underworld to explore, which is just as massive,
They did
for
indeed.
you to explore. And it, like, to me, like, it's so cool because it's so, like, it's just dark.
Yeah.
It's just darkness. As far, like, when you first get down there, there's nothing but darkness, and you can't see a thing, and it's just like, well, what's down here? Like, and
what do I do now?
So I'm just like super curious about the whole thing, and so I'm just like, I gotta know.
I gotta find out
what's down here, and so like, I don't know what it was. Like, I just started going, like, so there are these things, the tree roots that give light out to the area, like, once you find them. And so I just started, like, going from tree root to tree root. And there's just so much cool stuff down there.
There's a lot of cool stuff down
there. And I've almost basically gotten the entire almost the entire southwest. Like,
that's
all
so
of,
awesome.
Like, everything under Gerudo is lit up.
That's so cool.
Everything under Hyrule Field in the south is lit up. So like, it's just like, I don't know. Like, there's just so much stuff down there. I love the fact that the Yiga clan has kind of made that their base down there, and that's a lot of fun.
So my oldest son actually really enjoys when you talk to someone down there and they're like, tricked ya, and then they actually switch to the Yiga clan guy.
Yeah, I've figured out, I'm just not going to talk to you. Like, when I see someone down there, I'm not even going to bother. Leave me alone. I don't have time to fight you. And that's the other thing, like, I don't even care about fighting anything down there.
No, it's just like, I want to explore more.
Like, so I just, like, run.
Yeah.
Like, and it's fun finding, like, different post for the Zonai stuff where you can find that to build different things, and that so I love the depths.
The depths are awesome,
and it's just fun to explore, and I can't explain it. It's just something about it that's just like, I want to find out what's down here.
Well, and what they did, so we said that there was sort of 3 maps, if you will. So you got your basic overworld, Hyrule,
your underworld,
then you've got the depths, and then you actually have, if you want to call it I think it's called the Sky Kingdom. So there's a map up in the air too, up above you.
It's kind of a biblical cosmology.
It does. It has a cool like. So, and that actually relates to, you mentioned a criticism you've seen. I've seen a criticism that's driving me absolutely nuts. People who are, for some unknown reason, trying to hate on this game are saying that it's a $70 DLC because they just took the same map and recycled it. It's 2.5 times the size of the old map. Like, what do you want?
Right. Well, and not only that, but yes, it's the same map, but they did change stuff.
There's a ton of stuff that's changed. There's a literal whole map underneath the main map, and there's a small map above. Like, I just don't know what.
And like I said earlier, like, the first map, like, the game, Breath of the Wild itself was so flippin' huge. It's not like you saw the whole thing anyway the first time you played.
Well, and this one, I actually haven't checked how far away or apart it is, but you start in a different place.
Yes. So you start in the sky.
And then even when you get from the sky down to Hyrule, your sort of first place that you are
is not
the same as where you started in Breath of the Wild.
And it's a different, like, that place wasn't there in Breath of the Wild.
I didn't even do it on purpose, but I found myself just naturally going different directions than I did in Breath of the Wild.
Right,
just
exactly.
Because the game sort of progressed that way for me.
Right. Well, and that's another thing that's really cool about both Breath of the Wild and this. Like, we've both put it, like, I may have been like 10 more hours than you, but like, we've both played this game a ton.
Yeah.
And we have both had completely
totally
different experiences in playing the game.
Yeah.
Like, there's stuff that I'm sure you've run into that I haven't run into. There's stuff that I've run into that I'm sure you haven't run into. And, like, you know, they're giant things that are absolutely terrifying. And, like,
yes,
right now,
there are.
Like, right now, I'm like, I don't know if you've run into that, so I don't want to say it. But, like, the Gleeoks, have you run into those at all?
Are those down in the depths?
No.
Okay, maybe. I know I saw that name.
It's a giant thing with...
Is it the three-headed...
The three-headed dragon.
Yeah,
there
yeah.
You go.
Okay, I did.
Yep.
I've seen two. I approached one time and was instantly informed of how bad of a decision that was.
Yeah, no. So I saw one when I was in one area, and I was like, well, not going over there. See someplace I'm not going. And then I was in another area exploring, and like I was just walking, and it just kind of happened to be in my path, and it was like, oh, you're fighting this thing now, and I was like, nope, turn and run.
I absolutely am not. Goodbye.
Which, see, that's the funny thing. Like, I've barely fought anything. Like, I've just run away from everything. To a point now where it's like, okay, like I've started upgrading armor.
Yeah.
I have fought some things that I figured out that seemed really hard, but actually, you know, if you know what to do, they're really easy to kill.
Yeah.
And they give you like really good things.
That's the key, is figuring out the way you kill things or fight things.
So I now have like 2 swords that are like at 42 power.
Yes.
And so like I can kill anything almost instantly.
So
it's great.
That actually reminds me of something that is, I'm sure by now people have seen reviews and stuff, but that's a little bit spoilery. If you want to call it crafting or building, it's so cool the way. How much have you done with like attaching stuff to swords?
A little bit.
Oh, it's like the only way I find weapons.
Yeah.
I pick up the most generic sword that does like 4 damage, and I'll attach something to it to make it do like 30 damage.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Well, so like one of the cool things with the depths that you'll find, they actually have unrusted weapons down there if you find them. So I've found a couple of those and attached some really, really powerful things to them. So those are really good. But yeah, I love the sky too. Like I haven't done as much in the sky because it's so hard.
It is
to explore up there, but there's so many cool things.
So there's something, and I'm gonna, for your sake, I'm not gonna spoil it. There's something that you need to do in the sky that I can't figure out.
Okay.
And it's related to one of the temples. I can't figure it out. And it's just like,
Yeah.
So I just like left it and went and did other things because I can't figure it out.
It's related to one of the temples, huh? Interesting.
Yeah, I just can't figure. I think I know the solution, but when I go up there, I'm like, but I can't get there. So what do I do?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting. I haven't run into that yet, but I don't know, man. Like there's just so much. The caves, like exploring the caves is tons of fun.
Yep.
There's, and I don't know. Like I'm having a hard time coming up with words at this point.
So one thing we can talk about, because it won't spoil it for either of us, we've both done the Wind Temple.
Yes. Which I found incredibly annoying.
That one of the 3 I've done was the most like annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
for that one, I found it really challenging because I didn't understand how the helper Taran, I think is his name.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't figure out what I was supposed to do with that. So that I beelined it towards the Rudo temple because like in Breath of the Wild, Rivali's Gale, I found so incredibly
Yep.
helpful for exploring, like being able to just jump up into the air as high as high as you could. I just found that incredibly helpful for exploring, and I was like, it's got to be something similar to that, so that's where I'm going first. I was mistaken.
I wish it was.
I really wish it was Rivali's Gale. I get it. When it wasn't that, I was really frustrated because I was like, how am I supposed to explore now?
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna take me forever to find anything. I understand, like, they added other things that make it.
So when you say you weren't sure how his power, like, you mean fighting the boss?
No, just like how, like, I didn't understand, like, oh, I used him to blow myself along, like, and I couldn't, like, I didn't get that. I didn't get how, like, I just couldn't make it work how I thought it ought to work.
Yeah.
And that temple was really hard. I felt like it was really hard to find.
It was hard because it was hard to get to. It was medium hard to get to.
Mm-hmm.
And it had for me, the most challenge in just like moving along. The other two temples I've done, I've looked at it and it's been a puzzle.
Right.
I'm like, and I may have to try a few things, but I can see what I need to ultimately do.
Right.
That one, I just kind of wandered around like, I don't know. I don't see what I'm supposed to do here. I'm just wandering around in the cold, freezing to death.
But yeah, no, that one was really challenging. And then the boss on that annoyed me, but
yeah,
but
that one was annoying.
Yeah. I've, way beyond that at this point. And honestly, like, when I got to that, when I did that and realized, like, what was going on, I was like, I don't know that I actually thought, like, maybe I was wrong with my initial reaction because, like, I thought that was really, like, I did not enjoy that boss or that temple as much as I had, enjoyed, in Breath of the Wild, the stuff. And so that one did give me pause because I went there so quickly to do that.
It was the second one I did.
Yeah.
Out of 3. It was definitely the most annoying. I will say, at least for me, it was never so annoying that I felt like, I don't want to play this anymore.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. But it was, like, it was a frustrating thing for me, for sure. But, yeah. And then, so where I'm out right now, I'm in Goron City. I'm basically doing that temple. I'm in Death Mountain. And that's just been, so far that's been a lot of fun. That one took me forever to kind of get around. Like, I'd kind of unlocked it, and I was like, I'd gotten there, and then I was like, I'm going to go do something else for a while. So I just abandoned it after I started the storyline, and then I was like, I'm going to go find something else to do. But you said that's like your favorite, that's been your favorite storyline. So that's...
Of the 3 that I've done, the story arc of that has been my favorite. Yeah, so far.
Cool. It's such, like... And... Again, like, there's so many things that I feel like I've discovered that I don't know that I can tell you. There's just so much content that it's almost overwhelming.
It is. When we try to talk to each other about it, we have to say, like, it's in this region.
Did you do, like,
then we'll give another hint. It's like, well, it's next to this person.
Right.
And it starts out in this room.
Right.
So it's so hard to know.
So have you done any of, like, the newspaper? Like, did you join the newspaper thing?
I have done 2 of those now.
Okay, so, like, one of the things that I think is an incredibly, like, this is a huge upgrade from Breath of the Wild. They added a frog suit that allows you to climb on things when it's raining.
Yep.
That you can unlock. I've gotten one piece of that armor. And I am, like, I haven't had to use it yet, but, like, I am
super helpful.
So, like, because that was one of the most annoying things about Breath of the Wild was when it started raining and you're, like, halfway up a mountain and you're just like,
I'm just gonna slide to my
I'm just gonna die now. Like, there's no point. Like, I'm just dead. So, like, having that as as something that's available to you is incredibly helpful. And that was one of the reasons why I liked Rivali's Gale so much in Breath of the Wild, because you could jump up and even if you fell, even if it started raining, you could get back up relatively easily. I feel like there was something else I wanted to mention, and I can't remember what it was.
You asked about the newspaper thing. If I had done any of those. Those are fun. I've done 2. See, here I am again. I don't want to say what they are because I don't know if you've done them or not. But I've done 2 of those. Those are pretty fun.
And and you haven't found any of the Great Fairies yet.
I found one, but I haven't. I forgot to tell you that. Okay. Last night I found one.
Gotcha.
But couldn't figure out. She told me what I had to do.
Yeah.
But I can't figure it out yet.
Gotcha.
But when I found her, I was out of food and it was too cold. Like I was losing health because it was too cold.
Gotcha.
And I was like, well, I can't just sort of experiment right now. So I left to cook food, and then I got distracted by doing other things.
Sure. Well, there's so much to explore. Even though I've already explored tons of this before, I've explored it. Exploring it again is just fun. And then there's the Ultra Hand, ability, and
so cool.
It just the fact that you could just pretty much take anything and
smack it together
and just join it together has if you there have been some rather creative
you could say that
uses of that I'm sure Nintendo is unhappy with.
Let's just say they don't pass the dad scale.
It's not something that I would let my kids do, but nevertheless it's funny. But then the Korok, the poor little Korok guys that you can find.
So funny.
I hadn't even thought about it until I saw a little patch that was like Korok space program or something like that. It had a Korok stuck to a rocket, and I was like,
yes.
Oh my gosh! Of course you could do that.
I actually did that because I got so mad at one. And my in-laws were in town, and my father-in-law was watching me play, and he was like, just attach it to the rocket. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. So I stuck it to the side of a rocket, and I sent that thing into orbit. And the 3 of us were laughing so hard that I reloaded the game 4 times and just did it again and again and again. It was such a cathartic experience.
Well, one of the things with that is, I have all of these devices that I've collected.
Yeah.
That I don't want to use for some unnamed reason. Yeah. There's just something in me that's I need to just collect these and hoard them.
There's this fear that you're never gonna find them again.
But it's they have the dispensers all over the place, and they tell you what you can find the dispensers anywhere. And so I don't know what I'm doing at this point, but I'm thinking next chance I get, I'm gonna just take out every single rocket that I have,
just build a circle
and just
around
build a giant this giant thing, and then attach a control stick to the top of it with a platform, and just launch myself up as high as I can possibly go.
Oh my gosh! You just helped me figure out the thing I couldn't figure out. It's rockets. It's rockets. I just figured it out. We gotta cut this off. I gotta go home and play Zelda.
Well, this is the 1 hour that I'm not playing Zelda tonight. So
I just figured it out. That's such a good idea. I'm just gonna attach a bunch of rockets to myself and blast myself. Oh my gosh! I can't believe it. I'm having an epiphany right now about how to figure that out.
Man. So, and then the other thing, and at first I was so skeptical about it, because I was what can you do with it? I didn't understand I was a lot of the abilities were like that, where I was just I don't.
Yeah, I felt the same way at first. I was like, okay, but why?
Yeah, I don't get this.
Yeah.
What can I do with this? Why would I want to stack? Okay, I can attach things together and build.
Yeah.
I could build a building or a bridge. That'll be helpful, I guess. That reminds me of one of the first nights that I was playing. I had just done the Sky Temple, the Wind Temple.
Yep.
I had just beaten that, and I was leaving the Rudo Village, and the bridge is out there.
Oh, right.
And I was like, I'm just gonna fix this right now myself.
I'll fix that.
And I started cutting down trees to clear out to do it, and I was gonna build a bridge just going all the way across.
Yeah.
And I hadn't gotten I hadn't figured out the controls yet. I still was struggling, trying to figure out how to manipulate things in the with the Ultra Hand, and how to get things to turn. It took me way longer than it should have to figure out why can't I turn this that way? Why is it like it?
It does take some getting used to.
It took me forever. But anyway, so as I'm trying, like I get all of the trees in that area cut down that I could. I'm like, I've stuck all of them together. And as I'm trying to lay it across, I misjudge it. I let it go.
Whee!
And it falls into the water below. And I'm just like, you've got to be flipping kidding me.
Well, I guess I'm not.
You've got to be kidding
me.
And now I'm just thinking, I probably could have used the reverse time thing. Because that doesn't have a distance.
Oh, I think you have to aim at the object, though, don't you?
Right, but like it doesn't like if you can still see the object, you can reverse it.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't have like a distance like the grab does.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Yeah, you could have.
I probably could have just done that and just grabbed it that way. The things that you realize. Yeah. There was another thing there was a little mini game that I was playing at one point that I realized. Like, I tried it at first, and I was trying to use the grab to grab things, and I was like, this is impossible. Like, it moves too quickly.
Yep.
And then I was like, I passed it a second time, and I realized, like, oh, I can just use the reverse time.
Yeah.
And that'll work perfectly for this.
The one that I always forget about is the, I don't know what it's called, but where you can jump up.
Oh,
through the ceiling.
Yeah.
I always forget I have that one, and I'm just like getting frustrated. Like I can't go anywhere. I can't do anything.
How do I get up?
Oh, that's right. I can just launch myself through the ceiling here.
Well, and that's one of the things that I was playing today, and I realized I was at one particular place, and I started like climbing up the side of this thing that I had just exited out of.
Yep.
Like I had come out of it, and I was like, I need to get up there, and so I started climbing. And then, like, halfway up, I was like...
I don't have to do this.
Wait a second. I'm going to go back in to the building, and I'm just going to go... And that'll take me straight to the top.
Yep.
And I did. It's like, well, that was easy.
Yeah. For some reason, I always forget I have that one.
So, yeah. No, there's just so much to do. So much.
How about one mega spoiler?
Okay, mega spoiler.
Building a house? What? Why? But yes, please.
Yeah, they did. They added the Sims thing in there.
I feel like this game is just everything. It's an RPG. It's a role-playing game. It's an adventure game. It's a survival game. It's a crafting game.
It's a platformer.
It's an everything,
sort of, to some extent.
But I just came out of nowhere. I was like, wait, what? What? You're giving me what?
Yeah, the Terrytown storyline is fun. I really like that. I really liked the racetrack there too.
I've seen it, but I haven't actually done the race yet.
Oh man, it's so much fun. It's so much fun. You've got to do the racetrack because you can just go and build because there's just a ton of stuff there, and you can just build like the most ridiculous car that you can think of.
Yeah,
and then there are like ramps and stuff that you can try to launch yourself off of.
So when I saw it, I had just talked to the person who was like, "Oh, we're giving you this plot of land. Go over there."
Gotcha.
And so I was making my way over there, and I saw the racetrack, and I was like, "Is that a racetrack?" But no. Okay, I'll come back. I gotta go build my house, and I haven't gone back to the racetrack yet.
So I actually sent you that picture. There's an architect that
I'm doing that. I'm so doing that.
That did a floor design for his house in Tears of the Kingdom that set it up, and it's like, what? And actually made this like really artistic looking house, like architecturally beautiful, like pleasing, and just like, okay. Open floor plan and everything. He put pictures up, and he laid out he's like, here are the blueprints if you want it.
So I have found myself, because I want to build my house, I've gone and instead of doing content, I just go try to find jewels and things I can sell. So I spend so much time just essentially mining ore and jewels.
Right. I need money.
Just so that I can have money to build my house. And so I was like, okay, at some point I need to actually play this game.
Oh man. I think it's so in Breath of the Wild they felt like they were kind of pushing you to go towards the Zora kingdom first.
Yeah.
And I feel like
I think that's the first one I did.
yeah, I think that was the first one that I did in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
I regretted it ever since because I was like, this is of all of the abilities that you could get, like
it's super useful but very limited, and
right.
like you don't need it very often.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I feel like all of the other ones are more helpful.
Yeah.
Especially the Gerudo one, and that one is just amazing. The electricity, like you hold the charge and it like shoots down like electricity from the sky.
Yeah.
Like incredible. So, but I feel like in this one it pushes you towards it does actually push you towards the Rudo village first.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But so I don't know what's most useful, but also in this one, like I don't feel like it even introduces the Zora to you at all. You have to kind of go find them.
Yeah. No one has really mentioned them to me.
Yeah.
So and I told you this, my experience was, okay, it's pretty obvious that everyone wants me to go to the Rito because they all keep talking about it.
Right.
Everyone I talk to is like, yeah, but go do this. Yeah, but go talk to them. Yeah, and they kept pushing me that way. But I haven't had anyone that I can think of specifically tell me to go to the Zora.
And I've been to the Zora, to Zora's domain several times.
Yeah.
And like, it seems to me like they're the ones who are like the most in trouble. of like
seems like it to me too.
All of the people that I've like helped, like
yeah.
I mean, yeah, the Gorons are kind of like hopped up on drugs.
That's why it's such a good story.
The Rudo are starving to death.
Yep.
I don't know what's going on in the Gerudo Valley. Don't tell me.
I won't tell you.
But like I assume it's nothing. Like maybe a storm or something's over there. I don't know.
I won't tell you.
But like the Zora are like dying from like because of this like pollution all over.
Yeah,
like
pollution in their water.
Like
water's not important for fish like beings. They don't need water.
I just feel like that seems like the most like that. If you're going to solve a problem, that should be the one you solve.
They're just kind of hidden over there, and everyone just treats it like don't worry about them.
But whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've talked for like an hour and 10 minutes on this, I think. So yeah, close to it. So
the sad thing is, we could just sit here and talk
we could probably keep going
several more hours.
But did you have any other?
I don't think
points to bring up, any things to discuss?
I don't think so.
I'm just excited to keep exploring and keep finding things, which again I think it's such an interesting way to approach a game. Like rather than it being like, okay, the point is to advance the story, like figure out the story, do the story.
Yep.
The story is there to help you explore more.
Mm-hmm.
Like the story exists within the world so that you can do more in the world.
Right.
Like that's the only reason that I feel like that the story is there.
Yeah.
And that's such an interesting and creative way to approach a game. I don't know, like it's so
It's very
different.
much an open world adventure. And there's so many things you can do, and there's even things that you can do that the game doesn't tell you.
Right.
You just have to kind of find them on your own.
Yeah. Well, and like I was saying earlier, like with the way that the Ultra Hand works, there's just different ways to like do things that you wouldn't have, that they couldn't have expected you to do it that way.
Right.
Like that's not how they set it up for you to do it, but that's how you figured it out.
Yeah.
So why that works. I've
had at least 2 shrines where that happened.
Yeah.
And I looked it up later to see what the suggested solution was. No, I was way off, but I just did it anyway.
But there's the one tower that is just surrounded by monsters.
Mm-hmm.
That I went and I was like, I was trying to fight them all out, but they were like really tough.
They're
like
tough.
they were really tough monsters, and I was like, well, I can forget that. I'm not doing that.
No.
And so because they killed me, and I was like, well, if I can't do it, I can't do it. And so, but then I was like, well, I want to get that tower though. And so I was wandering around later, and I found a bunch of pieces of wood, and I was like,
I'll make a bridge.
I'm just going to build a really, really tall thing, and I'm going to climb up, and then I'm going to get around, and I'm going to just get in there. And I did. And
I died a couple times there, and then the third attempt, after I defeated the first few, the big fat one,
Yeah.
was over to the side asleep. So I just crouched and snuck like
Nice.
all the way around. I have
nice.
since gone back and defeated him.
No, I could probably go in there now and wipe them all out. It's just, like I said, I'm not even worried about fighting things right now for the most part. Like, I'm just having fun. And isn't that what games are about?
That's what we're all here for.
Isn't that what we're here for? It's just to have fun.
Yes, it is.
So that guy, there was that speedrunner that beat the game in
that's a waste.
90 minutes or whatever, and it's just like
that is such a waste.
That you didn't get to experience the game, and now you can never have the experience of actually playing the game for the first time. And I get it, there's something to be said for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that kind of thing being a thing, but don't do it as the first
do that on your second attempt.
Yeah, don't do that the first time you do it. Why? Anyway, you were saying something before I interrupted you, and I hope I didn't.
Oh, no, I was just saying that because you said you were excited to just keep exploring, and I was saying that before I came over here, the Switch has the feature where you can put it to sleep, but you can come back back to where you were. You don't actually turn the game off. I put mine to sleep, and I was climbing a wall in the depths because I'm really close to this next, what are they, light roots or whatever?
Right.
So I was climbing the wall and almost to the top, and I had to stop and make dinner. And so,
right. And then come over here.
And talk about it.
While I was playing still.
It's true. I had a 20-minute drive while you were just sitting there playing Zelda. But that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go home and finish.
Finish climbing the wall.
And then probably do several other things.
Yeah, no, there's so much to do. So much to do. So many caves to explore. But, and that's the thing, I've run into caves a couple of times where I thought I was done. I thought I had gotten out of the cave. For sure. And then I, see some rocks, and I'm like,
oh, wait.
I can destroy that wall.
Yeah.
I guess I'm going to keep going then.
I got a quest to find some treasure. And there was a X spot in a cave. Yeah. And I was like, I've explored this whole cave. It's not in here.
I think I'm probably at that same cave.
I figured it out. It was some rocks that I could break. So
okay. Yeah. See, there's one that I have. I should probably go back there because I was there when I was really weak, and now I've got actual weapons.
Yeah.
That I could probably beat it with, but. It's the same thing. It's probably the same one you're talking about, but I couldn't find the thing I was looking for there, the armor that's there. That's another the quest for the different quest for the suits of the different upgrade suits and stuff like that. I found one in the depths that is that's Toon Link's tunic. The Hero of the Seas tunic, which I thought was cool. Yeah. I hope I've also gotten Dark Link.
That one's awesome.
The Dark Link
I love
tunics.
wearing that one.
And I've got the Dark Link pants too. But so that's fun. I wish there was a Dark Link hat that you could get, but I haven't found that. So maybe there is. I just haven't found it yet. But anyway, there are so many fun things like that just make you want to keep exploring and keep going and then upgrading your batteries and things like that.
Oh man,
we haven't even talked about.
We didn't even talk about.
Talk about the batteries and the way that that is something that is interesting. Yeah. The way that they introduced something that feels foreign to Zelda. Yep. This technological advance kind of thing. The way that they introduced that in a way that makes it feel okay, yeah, I accept this as part of this world. Yeah. Which is not something that, that's not easy, but they did it, or it shouldn't be easy.
It's not easy, and they don't do it very often. Yeah. Zelda doesn't just put in this totally new thing.
Right. So it's this is just completely foreign to the world, and they did it, and you just buy it.
Yeah, so
it just makes sense.
So what Josh is talking about is there's this concept where you have battery power, and it powers the things that you build, the things that you can craft and build.
Or can power some of the things that you build.
Yeah, so you can build cars and tanks and flying vehicles, and your battery powers those things. And you can upgrade your battery so that it lasts longer. But yeah, and it happens early in the game when they introduce it.
Yeah.
And it just...
You just buy it.
Yeah, you totally believe it. You're like, okay, cool.
That makes sense. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Why not? And so, like I was saying earlier, like, I don't know... And that's another interesting thing about it, too, though. Like, in the originally Zelda was going to... Like, his name is Link.
Yeah.
Because it has to do with, like, linking in, like, like programming and stuff like that. It was supposed to be like an advanced, like it wasn't supposed to be like swords and stuff. It was supposed to be like a computer world.
I see.
Like originally, like in the original concepts.
That's
and so like the fact that they're kind of pulling that in, like is so and like I said, you just buy it.
Yeah,
like
I didn't question it at all. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, like that's a really cool thing.
I can't wait to do more of that.
Yeah. And then but at first, again, like it's one of those things that at first you're like, okay, so you're kind of skeptical about it, even though you're buying into like the fact that it's there, but you're skeptical about it, like how useful it's going to be, because it's like, but I can't steer anything, and then you find your first steering wheel,
right,
and you're like, oh snap, this is just become amazing.
I think that's when I was like, not rage texting you, but just like rapid fire texting you with all the ideas that I was having. It's like, oh, I could do this or that or that. I had so many ideas for building.
Well, no, there's the one shrine near Terrytown that I text like after I did that one. I was like, oh my gosh, you can build war tanks.
You can build a tank in this.
You can build things like this becomes like this is like freaking Mad Max.
Or people have been building like mech armor suits.
I haven't been able to do any of that.
Yeah, me either.
That kind of stuff. I don't know how that will work, but no, all of that's crazy, absolutely nuts.
It is
just
awesome,
so fun. That's the thing. Like, I wish I was more creative with my use of those things.
Yeah,
like I'm just gonna stack a bunch of rockets on top of each other and blast into
stick this wood together.
Yeah. Like that picture with I saw someone had like taken a Nokia phone and like taped it to a stick and was like, this is me playing Zelda. And like other people are like building castles, and I was just like,
you should use the power to attach swords to like horns of enemies. You can build some really cool swords that way.
Have you fought a Lionel yet?
I don't think so.
I've still tried to avoid them, but because I hated them in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't recall fighting one. So
I found one in the depths that I decided I was going to try to fight, and he just immediately just wrecked me, like absolutely wrecked me.
What are those?
It's the horse things.
Okay,
lion things.
Yeah, no, I haven't fought one of those yet.
Yeah, from Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
I hated those things in Breath of the Wild. I hate them in Tears of the Kingdom. There's so many animals and beasts and monsters that I hate. That I'm just
you know what you don't hate, Josh?
I don't want to fight them.
Bears. Because you can mount a bear and ride it in Tears of the Kingdom.
You can do that in Breath of the Wild too.
I never found that in Breath of the Wild. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
I was actually fighting this bear, and my oldest son was watching me, and he's
you can mount it.
He said, "Dad, I don't think you're doing any damage." So I actually went to run away because I wasn't doing any damage, and then I saw the option to mount it, and I was like, "Wait, what?" So I ran around behind it and hopped on.
Nice. Yeah. So all that to say, Tears of the Kingdom is a great game. We've both been like
so good.
We've been talking about it nonstop. It's all we've done. So hopefully we'll have an episode next month where we talk about more Tears of the Kingdom. No, maybe we'll talk about some other games next month.
Well, I have the advantage that I wasn't here last month.
Right, that's true.
So
you have an actual game that you can talk about.
I did play a couple games. One of them I borrowed from you.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I have some games.
You have some games to talk about. I also bought a new game.
You did
that I won. That I basically, got a discount on my Zelda controller for. So
it's really good that I borrowed that game from you too, because there's no way I'm gonna be done with Tears of the Kingdom by the next time that we put out an episode. No. So there's no way I'm gonna play anything else.
Yeah, for sure. I will probably play this other game that I bought, just because I think my wife at some point is going to mandate that I turn off
Please
Tears of the Kingdom.
playing Zelda.
Like, you do this nonstop. I'm going on vacation this week. like the day that this episode comes out, I
Yeah.
will be leaving on vacation. So,
And surely on your vacation you won't play Zelda.
yeah, no, not at all.
Never.
But I'm fairly certain that my wife is just going to be like, turn it off.
It's actually one of the primary reasons why I've been able to play it so much is my oldest 2 sons love watching it.
Oh yeah, no.
So I can turn it on and keep them quiet for
Sure.
the baby to nap. So it's like, okay, so I can keep them quiet. The baby will sleep, and I can play. This is like a win for everyone.
Win.
So I've been playing a ton of Zelda just so that it will keep them quiet.
Yeah, no. My daughter loves, for the most part, loves Zelda. My son hasn't quite gotten it yet. He just wants to do other things. But, of course, so does she. You know, like, my son is mostly just mad that Mario isn't on the TV.
Where's Mario?
Mario. He loves, like, I've done something right because he runs like Sonic and he constantly talks about Mario.
Nailed it.
So, like, I'm doing something right. I don't know. But yeah, so Tears of the Kingdom. So based on our normal criteria,
Yeah.
it's a great game
Yes.
that everyone should own. However, it will suck your life right out of you. You will not, like,
There's only one criteria it will meet, and that is like the time commitment. You will not be sleeping. You will not be playing other games.
No.
You will not go for walks in the park. You will only play Zelda and get up tired and go to work. That's all you're gonna do.
Yeah, that's so, like, you know, the only criteria I think that it meets for us is that it's a great game.
But it's so good.
But it's so good. Everything else about it, you know, it is family friendly, I guess.
It's very family friendly.
For the most, other than the demon hands, which you still haven't run into
seen
somehow.
those, yeah.
You haven't run into the demon hands. They are terrifying.
But yeah, my 8-year-old and my 4-year-old love to watch it. And
Family friendly for the most part, and overall, just a phenomenal game. Love it. So I think we should wrap this up because we've almost been going for an hour and a half. So this is like the longest episode we've ever done.
Worth it.
But, you know, you guys haven't, you know, we only do these once a month now. So you can listen to it in 3 parts.
You got time.
You know, or 4 parts. So you can listen to one each week leading up to our next episode. There you go. Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening and for spending some time with us today. We really appreciate your time and your ears. If you wouldn't mind doing all the things, do all the things.
Do all the things. And give us a 5 star so we can get our average up from lame 1 that we got.
1 star. That 1 star was like someone who accidentally clicked on the 1 star.
didn't mean
like,
to.
And now we're like berating them and they're like so, like, they're depressed.
It was probably a friend or a family member and they're like, nah.
I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it was me.
But if that was you, you can change it.
You can go change it.
You can change
go
it.
change it.
Yeah.
And if it was you who did it and it is actually like intentionally a 1 star, like
tell us why.
Tell us why.
Yeah.
Like, we won't be offended. Honest. Maybe, you know.
That we'll admit.
Like, I just want to know. But anyway, do all of the things. Like, subscribe, share, rate. And yeah, we'd love to hear any comments that you have. We have a Facebook page that we can check.
We sometimes use it.
It exists. We have a Twitter that also exists.
It exists.
So yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much again, and we will catch you on the next episode of the Dead Tired Cads podcast, where we talk about something other than Zelda.
Yay!
Bye.